Hello everybody and welcome back to my Pokemon Black 2 Nuzlocke. So this is going to be yet another episode where we continue to grind levels using the same trainer over and over again. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. On the good news, on the bright side, our young ducklet named something. What did I name this thing? Steve. Steve? No. Steve was the pigeon that died early on, right? What did I call this thing? Alright, we're gonna see like right now. Anyway, the young ducklet has leveled up quite a bit. He's gone to the point where he has exceeded the strength of my entire previous party. Oh, Frank the ducklet, I remember why. Why did I do this? Oh, because Donald Duck is too obvious. So Frank the Duck is what makes sense to myself. I'm not really too sure what went down here. Yeah, so we're at 33. It seems like probably 2 to 3 more encounters with this one trainer should get us to 35. Maybe 4. I think 4 is probably correct. Yeah, maybe about 4. Let's try that. So we'll fight this guy over and over again for a bit, and then we'll level up the rest of our team. I am going to actually level up everybody, just because I feel like the game will... Oh my lord, dude. The game is just gonna get way easier this way. Oh, actually, I should put EXP share on something. Yeah, I should totally do that. Basically, I just mean, with my 3-man party earlier, those were 3 Pokemon that I believe, 3 or 4. 4 Pokemon party earlier. All 4 of those guys were like winners. They're all like, you know, decent Pokemon. They're all pretty strong for where we are in the game. They had good movesets, except for Baconator. Baconator is a shitty moveset. But the current team that I'm rolling with right now, these guys are definitely not... I would definitely not call these guys winners. They're not losers, but they're definitely not winners. So we're going to compensate for that fact by having more losers, you know? Well, I guess I just called them a loser again, but no. Just, we're going to compensate for their lack of... innate aptitude with sheer numbers. Yeah, that's the best way that we're gonna put it there. Okay. Yeah, so EXP share, I want to see how much that splits it. This thing gave me like 600 something, I think. 600? I can't remember anymore. The Roost has been a real good move for us here. It's pretty much... Oh my god. Well, when the crit only does that much, you know that you're in a pretty good spot. I am 9 levels ahead of this thing, so I guess it's to be expected to some extent. We'll Roost up again, why not? Yeah. I can teach this thing Fly, but I don't really want to, because Fly isn't like a good move. It's not 100% accurate this generation for some reason. I don't know why they nerfed the accuracy on these random moves. I feel like it's like the worst way to nerf something. Or maybe Fly was always 95% accurate. I actually have no idea. Oh well. Yeah. I'm actually considering turning off animations in order to make this process go faster. Probably not. This is more entertaining. 22, good stuff. Okay, so Frank definitely does level a lot slower this way, but Winona will be able to get some levels this way, and it'll bring her up to a point where she can kind of fight on her own, you know what I mean? Well, I guess we can't really grind this trainer with Winona though, because they have Liepard, so it's a very poor matchup for him. Okay. The next thing that I'm gonna do is probably... I'm not gonna level up Frank like one Pokemon by itself. Probably gonna do the same strat I've been rolling the whole time, where Zorua takes out the Tranquil, and then what's his face? The deer Bambino takes out the Liepard. Yeah, so... Oh, there you go. Yeah, this is unfortunately this is what the price I had to pay for my my previous stupidity, sacrificing basically my whole team for no reason. That felt real good there. Oh, this is the generation with Eviolite, right? Yeah, totally is. Eviolite is the item where if you're an unevolved, like not fully evolved Pokemon, it raises your defenses by 50%. So it's actually really, really strong. And in fact, it makes Pokemon like Gligar, what else? Like Magneton, these sort of things. With Eviolite, they actually become tankier than their fully evolved forms. But of course, the fully evolved forms get the benefit of being able to hold a different item. So it's not like a clear better or worse, but it basically brought a lot of these pre-evolved Pokemon into relevancy, which was really cool. I like that a lot. I'm not learning Rain Dance. No, keep old moves. Yeah. Yeah, Rain Dance is a very interesting attack. Oh right, this thing's adamant. Fuck, man. I was just like, why did it get 0 special attack? That seems like the opposite of what I'd want from Winona. Yeah, so Rain is really cool. The weather in this game actually has like a lot of different effects. So Rain boosts the power of all water type moves by 50% and halves the damage of fire type moves. Oh, nice. Good stuff, Frank. You did well today. Okay. So because we put on the EXP share, it's going to take a lot longer than 4 encounters. But Frank is a boss. He doesn't give a shit. He just, you know, tank through it, no problem. Yeah, so it also has the benefit of making Thunder and Hurricane 100% accurate moves. I think it's just really flavorful. Like, it just makes like, it makes logical sense that that's kind of what it would do. And but it's not written anywhere. That's the only problem, is that these mechanics are kind of like hidden. They don't actually tell you about them. Maybe some NPC tells you about them, like this generation, but in previous generations you just kind of had to know that. Same with like Sun. Sun, you can, you know, charge Solar Beam instantly. That's a pretty famous one. Most people know about that one. But it also raises the attack of fire type moves and decreases water type moves damage. You gonna fake me out? Yeah, fake me out. Yeah. So weather is actually... Oh, this is the generation. So I mentioned earlier in the previous episodes about Dream World abilities, the hidden abilities of certain Pokemon. Basically, they all had an ability from Gen 3, and then in this generation, they all got an extra ability. So what ended up happening is actually 2 Pokemon got the abilities of Kyogre and Groudon, which is to summon Rain and Sun, and those 2 were Politoed and Ninetales. Now, both of them were like really terrible Pokemon before, like in the bottom of the barrel kind of things. I guess not the very bottom of the barrel, but they definitely weren't good. Like you would rather run almost anything else. And they got the ability to summon summon weather upon switch in, and that actually created a whole like generation full of weather strategies. Like almost every team ran either sun or rain. What? Why are you learning this? This is so weird. This decreases special defense. Yeah. So yeah, like 5th gen, I remember, was the generation dominated by weather. It was the weather channel, you know, like you had rain teams with Politoed, and then you had sun teams with Ninetales. And they would be really, really interesting because there's lots of abilities in the game that, you know, do things when you're in the sun or the rain. For example, Swift Swim, which doubles your speed in the rain, or the equivalent for sun is Chlorophyll. And then sun has some other stuff like solar power, like shit like that, which just makes you do extra damage in the sun at the cost of some HP. So it was really entertaining for a while, and then it became very unentertaining because all the games were basically, you knew exactly what was going to happen in most of them. Like, you knew exactly what the opponent's strategy was. There wasn't really anything too surprising because the power of sun and rain and sand were just strong enough on their own that you didn't need to like do anything tricky. You just needed to play it correctly and safely, and you would usually win. Like, of course, there's the usual stuff where you have to like predict what your opponent's gonna do and that kind of thing, but you wouldn't see very many like unusual sets of Pokemon. Like the move sets were all pretty standard. The Pokemon you saw were all very standard. But yeah, some people were really into it because it was basically the most chess-like the game ever became, because like everybody had similar pieces and you just had to be able to navigate those pieces better than your opponent. But a lot of people kind of lost interest in the standard format, like the format with all the strong Pokemon, because it just became too stale. Like everybody knew what was going to happen every game. Like they knew like, oh, you kept seeing the same Pokemon over and over again, basically, which was a that was quite interesting for a little while. I actually remember Sand being extremely strong during that generation, but that ability was there the whole time through Tyranitar, a third gen Pokemon that summons Sand upon switch in. The reason being is that that Pokemon Excadrill, the one that we faced at the gym, who one shot Dundee 2. That thing actually gets the ability where its speed doubles in Sand, and it hits like incredibly hard. So having double speed on something that hits that hard meant that there really weren't that many good switch-ins to it. You know, like you can try and switch in a flying type into its ground type move, but then it would just use its rock stab on you, and then not rock stab, or its rock coverage move on you, and you couldn't really take that either. So it was quite difficult to play, and you could expect that on pretty much every team. Excadrills, Rotom Wash, Ferrothorn, those were all like staple Pokemon in almost every team. And yeah, so that was quite interesting. Because before then, weather teams were sort of like a niche type of team in fourth gen, because in order to set up weather, you need to take a turn to actually use the move Rain Dance or Sunny Day, and then it would also not last the entire battle. It would only last like 5 turns. Unless you held an item that made it last longer. But basically, like, you would have to have dedicated Pokemon that set up the weather for you, and then also dedicated Pokemon to make use of the weather. So it was very much one of those things where every piece of the team was necessary, or you wouldn't be able to win. Whereas in 5th gen, you really only needed Politoed or Ninetales, and they would set up the weather, and it would be there the entire game. And you would only really have to play around the opponent's weather starter. So like if you are running rain, you would have to try and make sure that your Politoed outlived your opponent's Ninetales. That way you would have rain for the rest of the game, and they would have no way to get rid of the rain. And it meant that the entire team didn't really have to be built around the sun or rain. It just meant that you could have like 1 or 2 things that made really good use of rain, and everything else could just be like, like stuff that counters your opponent's team that you're expecting. Since you don't need multiple like weather starters, you could afford to put in more like generically good things, and that like reduced a lot of the diversity, because like things like Rotom Wash and Ferrothorn, they're just generally good Pokemon. Like they would be good on almost every team, and so they were on almost every team. And even if they didn't really function too well for like the weather specific that you're doing, like of course it is benefited by whatever weather you're using. It made it so that people didn't run like really cool, very niche things that would be good in sun or rain. Like off the top of my head, for sun, I'm thinking maybe like solar powered Charizard, or like Executor. Like these are all classically considered to be not very good Pokemon, but then in sun or in rain they become much better, and then they can compete with things that are stronger than them because they have the weather support. But since so many other teams were running different weathers, you couldn't guarantee that your weather was up all the time. The game kind of became one of those things where you had to out navigate your opponent rather than I'm executing my own game plan. And there's not, it's not like that's objectively good or bad, but people did get really sick of this, the way that the weather worked in 5th gen. So in 6th gen is the one that it changed. These weather starter Pokemon all only set up the weather for 5 turns. Same as like when you use the move manually, Sunny Day or Rain Dance. And that actually improved things a lot. I mean, it meant that most teams stopped running these weather starters. Actually, was there a different reason why they stopped running these weather starters? I can't remember anymore. But the weather starters became a lot more obsolete. They might have been banned. That actually might be the real reason. But the fact that it made it so that the weather would run out on its own meant that you didn't have to run your own weather in order to counter your opponent's weather. And that made the game a lot more interesting. So 6th gen, I don't know how other people felt about it. I actually didn't play a lot of 6th gen, so I'm not too sure how it went. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite fun. I didn't play a lot of 4th gen either. Like I watched a lot of videos for this sort of thing, but I didn't really grind a lot of the... Like I never did Wi-Fi battles because I never had the patience to actually like find people to play with the Wi-Fi battles. Like it's really difficult to find people. And then so I only grinded on Showdown, but I never really played too much. I played up until I only played the UU ladder until around top 100 for both 5th and 6th gen. And then that's about it. I haven't touched the new generation at all. It seems really interesting. There's a whole new thing going on with all these terrains instead of the weather. Are you serious? It lives with like 1 HP? Come on, man. I guess we feint attack. Yeah, so 5th gen brought in a lot of really interesting mechanics. I thought it was quite cool. They the one thing I remember specifically that made a lot of people angry. Oh, Ducklet's evolving. Oh, nice, Frank. All right, let's see. I remember it looks really pretty. It's called like Swana or something. Let's take a look. I'm pretty happy about this. This means that we have yet another usable member for our team. Yeah, it's just a blue swan. Oh, it's white. I thought it was blue. Why does it have like a bra on? That's super weird, man. Okay, let's take a look at what Swana has. Going on for it. Swana, serious nature. Holy shit, its attack is so high. Jesus. I suppose compared to these fuckers, it's gonna seem much higher, but yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we're gonna take this. Oh, I can move. Oh, I should have done that. Alright, and we're gonna give you the XP share instead. Yes. What is this? What item are you holding? Let me actually see this. Charcoal. I mean, definitely shouldn't be this item, right? Let's give him something else. What would be good here? Oh, I went through the thing already. Scope lens? Scope lens doesn't seem that worth. Leftovers? Let's give him the thing that makes it heal after hitting stuff. No. That's not the one I meant. Shell bell. Yeah, shell bell's the one. Yes. Yeah, held items were a big innovation as well. I really enjoyed that for I think it was in silver and gold, like 2nd generation. I actually think they did a really good job with innovating the game at for every generation except for the previous 2. Like for 5th gen, the main thing that they did is that they made all the sprites move, which is really cool. You know, it's not really a gameplay thing, but it is really like, it's really fun to look at. And 6th gen as well, you know, like you gotta give them credit for making everything 3D. Like I imagine that was not an easy process to do, since it's, you know, like it is quite taxing to be able to animate all like 600 something sprites. So you know, I think 6th gen actually did add stuff, but 7th gen, I really don't think that it actually did anything for the game. Like I don't think the thing that they were trying to focus on is like the trainer's experience, like how the trainer and the Pokemon work together in the game now to accomplish tasks instead of like the trainer being off in the background. But I really don't like that. Like I don't really care to look at the trainer. Like I don't really care about what he's doing or like how the Pokemon like waits for your commands or anything like that. Like I suppose it is kind of a neat touch, but I never really cared about that kind of sort of thing. That sort of thing. Okay, we're gonna heal up here. It's unfortunately, Bambino is still not at the phase, not at the strength level where he can just take things on by himself without needing my assistance, basically. Yeah, but I think that's fine. Bambino's doing okay. I'm mainly waiting for Bambino to learn Horn Leech, which is its signature move. It's like a grass type, like Mega Drain basically, but it's a physical move. Alright, how much attack do you get here? You get 2 attack, that ain't bad. Aromatherapy. Nah, I'm gonna not take aromatherapy. This move cures the status of everybody on your team. Alright, Cheryl's leveling up. Not bad. Okay. So, the only thing is that our team is actually very slow, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Like, it's fine if we're kind of slow, since we're going to be over-leveled, most likely. Or at least I hope we're going to be over-leveled. I don't know if I will have the patience to actually, like, over-level my Pokemon, but I'm going to try, mainly because, I I really don't want to go through this experience again. Like, leveling them each a little bit is not so bad, but having to level them from like scratch, it feels like shit. Like, that's just terrible. It's just awful. Ugh. My throat is getting to that hoarse stage, and that means that the video is probably going to end soon. Yeah, looks like about the right time. Not bad, Zorua, not bad. Pretty happy with how my team has been performing so far. It seems like maybe 2 more episodes is going to be where we're finally going to be done with the grind here. Yeah. Now that does seem like quite a lot of time that I've spent on this. This is already the 2.5 episodes in, I suppose. And you know, I imagine, of course, it's not very interesting. But I'm pretty happy that we already got one of our Pokemon to evolve. The rest of them should also be very close to evolving, and once they get there, the game is going to become much easier. You know, they're just gonna be way more solid Pokemon in general. Oh, we finally reached the threshold where we can one-shot this thing, finally. Ah, thank goodness. So Bambino... Oh, no, Bambino doesn't get less. I was thinking that it actually gets less experience than Swanna, but it isn't that. It's just that I have EXP share on. I have EXP share on. Okay, that's no problem. So this is going to probably mark the end of the episode. We're going to go back to the Pokemon Center and heal up. I've been realizing that I've been ending the episodes in the Pokemon Center pretty much every time. But yeah, you know, as usual, if you enjoyed the episode, I'd appreciate a like and a comment. They help me out a lot. And if you want to see more, there's going to be another episode tomorrow. See you soon.